I'm doing this tutorial to help with the C++ programming in class. I'll start off with some basic knowledge of programming, how you declare variables and such, and how you pull out statement from questions, and then we'll actually go and do a question in C++. I noticed that I only have like 50 minutes of video time to upload on YouTube, so I'll try to keep this short. First, as you can see, I'm on the C++ website. This is where you can come to get all the documentation and such. It might be small in the video, so I'll just control plus it for, right, make it a little bigger. So you go to documentation and learn through the tutorials. But I'm not going to show you through this. This is just for reference. I'll show you a question by actually doing it. So the basic structure will be like this. You should know this from class was taught. You include your IO stream. That's so we can use input output using your namespace, int main, parentheses, open and close and curly braces, return 0. Those are your essentials. This cout is not really important. That's not important. Everything else, those are your essentials. Those are the things you need to remember for any C++ programming that we're doing in class. So let's start off with some basics about programming. We start off with a question. Jack has 5 coins, John has 10 coins. Write a program to display the total amount of coins they have together. So when you see a question like this, the first thing you want to do is highlight the information that you need. So you need the 5 coins and who has it. You need the 10 coins and who have it. And you need to highlight what they want you to do. Let's change that color there. So they want you to write a program to display the total amount of coins. So you know you need to do something with this as well. But this is where your main part of your program. So reading and understanding the question is a big part as well. So let's break down this question. In programming, what we do is we take statements and we give it to the computer to do operations for us. We do the same thing when we're doing questions like maths, physics, etc. So let's take this statement and break it down like how we would normally do for one of those subjects. So, coins, Jack has 5 coins. John has 10 coins. Total is 5 plus 10. Right? So this is basic English that everybody could understand. What we want to do is put it in a way that the computer could understand it, because this is exactly what we want to give the computer, these 3 statements. So let's make our variables and do that. So that's just the basics. You want to take statements from your English format and put it in the programming format, the syntax. So this is English syntax. We want to put it in programming syntax. The first thing we had to do is analyze it a little more, because to write a variable, you need the type, the name, or the type, the name, and the value it equal to. Notice that we end all our programming statements with semicolons, just like how we end our English statement with full stop. In programming, we end them with semicolons. So we look at our question. We have the number 5, number 10. Those things are integers. They are numbers, they are integers, they are whole numbers. So we know that someone has 5 coins. Jack has 5 coins. John has 10 coins. So we know our type and we know our names. And we know our value. So let's put it in a way that the computer can understand it. So our type is integer. So in C++ we write int to mean integer. That's our type. And our name will be Jack Coins. and our value will be 5. Right? Just to recap, when you're declaring variables, you give it a type, that is int, and you give it a name, coins. Jack coins is the same, just like English, names and the value, just like English. So it's not that different. And you end with your full stop, you end with your semicolon. Hope you understand. So you break down your question, you find what you want, and then you put it down, and then you put it in your programming language. So this way, it will be easier for you, especially if you're now starting. So let's jump on to the programming. I'll just rewrite this part for you because I want to show you something. Always remember to include those 2 lines at the beginning, and you have to include this as well. Int main parentheses curly braces. You don't put a semicolon after the curly braces. You just leave it so. I wrote this in one line to show you that this is how your main will always look. And you go between the curly braces and break it. This is one way to avoid a lot of errors because people generally write it like int main that, then I start writing the code. You see, this editor put it in for me, but not all of them is put in your second curly brace. Not everybody's do that for you. So just in case you don't know if your editor is do it, it's always good to write it in one line. So you see everything there and then go in the middle and break it. Right? So that's a good way to avoid errors. And then you put in your return 0. So this is something you just have to learn off if you want. Because this is always part of your program. These 4 things on the screen already, these are always part of your program. Now we'll add the code. Our code is, we need to add some variables to calculate the total, and then we have to display it. So we know our variables is int jack coins equal 5-1, then the other one will be int john coins equal 10, and then in total, etc. So let's do that now. I want to say that you don't really need to name it something, Jack Coins or anything, John Coins. You could choose whatever name you want. For example, a ridiculous name like like PS4 and Xbox One coming soon equal 10. This will give you 0 errors. It will work perfectly fine. But it's a stupid name. Well, it's ridiculous. If someone come back and read the code, they will like think PS1 Xbox coming out in like 10 days, and they don't know that 10 had to do with Jack Coins. So it's not relevant to what we're doing. So try to name your things sensible names and relevant. But any name, no matter how stupid it is, will work once it's confined with the naming standards. That is, it begin with a character and not a number. A letter, not a number, right? So we have the 2 variables for the coins we want to add. And say we didn't know we wanted to add coins, but we know we needed a total variable. So we could just declare the total and then come back and read the question. So we know we needed total, but we didn't know what we was going to do with the total. So we read in the question over the total amount of coins they have together. So being a big person, total amount of something together means adding. So now you come back and say, oh, I need to add. So you declare a total already. So you don't have to re-declare it. You just have to call it. So total equal Jack coins. Right? If you put the int in front of it, that means you're creating a new total variable. even though the first one was empty, it will replace it. So this might be a problem for us because we had an empty one. But say you had a longer program, it would have replaced whatever value you had set it to. So just know if you set it, if you create it already, you don't need to put the data type again. So this is our program. We're almost done. I hope everything is clear up to now. The last thing to say is display. Display. There's the instructions to display the total. So in all or most programming language, there's a standard output way to do things. So I could just show you in C++ documentation. The way how you do standard output is cout less than. We could go to the actual standard output over here, documentation, input output, and they get all. Which this one is for text, numbers, variables. This is what we're interested in, doing it for variables. So we go cout less than total. That should work. But just to add in some text to make it look good. Quotes. This is the total. Right? And that's our program. There's one thing we need to add in. If you're using the text editor to give us from MediaFire, Dev++, Dev C++, you need to add in system pause and a semicolon. Make sure and have a semicolons after every statement. System pause, what it does is, if we had ran our code without it, the command prompt window, a little black box would pop up on the screen and then disappear. That means your code working perfectly fine. There's no error. The problem was you didn't pause anything. You didn't stop it so you could see what happened. So this line of code is after it outputs, it pauses so you can see what you're outputting. So I don't need it because I'm using IDE 1. It is a website that allows you to write C++ code and other languages. Most likely, if you come to this website, you'll have to change the language from Java to C++ 11. So remember, when you come to the website, the first thing you're doing is going down here to choose language and Java. I should have told you that at the beginning. I'm sorry if you were watching this and confused and couldn't work along with it. But yeah, that's how you get to the C++ compiler and editor. Like I said, I don't need this line, so I'll comment it out with the 2 slashes because they're just going to output to the screen. So this is our program, variable, our calculation, and our outputs. This is going to output on one line. So run. It's running, and you see down here we have our total, and everything is nice. So I hope you understand. I hope it helped. In the quiz, I still planning to go. I don't know how hard it will be, but this is just the basics, and it should work out fine for you. So thanks for watching.